Have you ever wanted to say something so precise, so calm, that the other person just goes silent? Not with shouting, not with insults, but with pure intelligence. Imagine being in the middle of an argument and, with a single sentence, you make the other person lower their voice, look at you differently, and have nothing more to say. Today, I'll reveal 5 Stoic responses so powerful that they can silence anyone without losing your peace. It doesn't matter if you're talking to your boss, a difficult family member, or someone who simply wants to impose their will. These words not only protect you, they place you in a position of power, calm, grounded, and untouchable. And here's my challenge for you. If you've ever wanted to stay calm while everyone else loses control, comment 1 below. That's where true strength begins. Response 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. There are times when someone believes that raising their voice gives them more power. They shout, they interrupt, they impose themselves, expecting you to do the same. But if you fall into that game, you've already lost. Because shouting doesn't make you stronger. It only makes you louder. And volume has never been a measure of truth. This phrase, I don't need to raise my voice to be right, is not just a line. It's a declaration of calm authority, a way to step out of the noise without leaving the conversation. Imagine being in a meeting, an argument at home, or a confrontation on the street. The other person raises their tone, trying to dominate the space. But instead of matching their energy, you remain composed. You look them in the eye and say with serenity, I don't need to raise my voice to be right. In that instant, everything shifts. The shouting stops meaning something, because the one who controls their tone controls the room. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus once said, he who cannot control his tongue will be a slave to his emotions. Self-control is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. You don't need to impose yourself because your confidence already does it for you. You don't need to shout because your logic speaks louder than any noise. And when you speak with serenity in the middle of a storm, everyone notices who truly holds the power. Response 2. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. When someone attacks you with sarcasm, mockery, or contempt, your first instinct is to defend yourself, to strike back with the same weapon. But the moment you react that way, you've handed them your peace. The Stoics taught that insults only hurt when you choose to believe them. And this phrase is your shield. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. It's not an argument. It's a mirror, a quiet reflection that forces the other person to see themselves. No shouting, no bitterness, just calm truth. Imagine someone mocks you in front of others, tries to humiliate you, throws words like stones, hoping to make you fall. You don't raise your voice. You don't explain. You simply say, the way you speak says more about you than it does about me. And suddenly, the silence that follows is louder than any insult, because that phrase reveals something profound, that you will not let another person's darkness dim your light. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. To speak with dignity in the face of disrespect is not weakness. It is mastery. It is the moment you stop reacting and start leading. Because when you remain composed, you don't just silence the other. You elevate yourself. Response 3. Let's talk. When we can do it respectfully. Not every conversation deserves your energy. Some people don't want dialogue. They want domination. They interrupt, they shout, they twist your words, and they call it communication. But the Stoics knew. Not every battle is worth fighting. Peace is not found in winning arguments. It's found in choosing which ones are worth your breath. That's where this phrase becomes your boundary. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. It's not retreat, it's wisdom. It's the voice of someone who values dignity more than victory. Imagine someone keeps interrupting you, their tone sharp, their words like arrows. You pause, you breathe, and you say calmly, let's talk when we can do it respectfully. That one sentence does more than silence the noise. It resets the entire dynamic. Because at that moment, you've reminded both of you that respect is the foundation of any meaningful exchange. Epictetus once said, you cannot control what others do, but you can control what you accept. This phrase is the perfect embodiment of that wisdom. You're not avoiding the conversation, you're setting the terms under which it can happen. And in doing so, you shift from reaction to leadership. The person who can walk away from chaos is always the one who truly holds control. Response 4. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. There comes a moment when continuing to talk no longer serves truth, only ego. When words stop connecting and start cutting. When the other person isn't listening to understand, but only to reply, to win, to wound. That's when this phrase becomes your peacekeeper. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. It's not avoidance, it's awareness. It's recognizing that silence can speak louder than explanation. Imagine someone keeps provoking you, pushing your limits, twisting your words, turning the exchange into a battlefield. You feel the tension rising inside, but instead of fighting back, you breathe and calmly say, I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. In that moment, you're not walking away from the conflict. You're walking back to yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Choosing to end a toxic conversation is not surrender. It's an act of strength, the courage to protect your energy, your clarity, your dignity. The world teaches us to always respond, always defend, always argue, but wisdom knows when silence is the only answer worth giving. Because true mastery is not in saying more, but in knowing when enough has been said. Response 5. That's your opinion and I respect it, but I don't share it. Not every disagreement needs to end in conflict. Sometimes the greatest strength is found not in changing another's mind, but in standing calmly with your own. People will often try to convince you, to correct you, to make you see the world as they do. Some do it out of care, others out of control. But the Stoics taught, to live in peace, you must free yourself from the need to be approved. That's when this phrase becomes your anchor. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. It's a line drawn with elegance, firm yet kind. You're not dismissing them, you're simply defining yourself. Imagine someone insists you're wrong, arguing endlessly to make you agree. You could fight, defend, or justify yourself. But instead, you stay calm and say, that's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. At that moment, you stop the tug of war, because you've made it clear, their belief doesn't define your truth. Seneca once said, to be a slave to the opinion of others is the worst of all prisons. This phrase is your key to freedom. It reminds you that confidence is quiet, and true respect begins with respecting your own boundaries. When you respond this way, you disarm judgment with grace. You show that it's possible to disagree without disrespect, to stand your ground without hostility. And that is the essence of Stoic power, to be unshaken even when the world demands that you bow. So now, you hold in your hands 5 Stoic responses. 5 sentences so simple, yet so powerful, they can silence noise without a single shout. 1. I don't need to raise my voice to be right. 2. The way you speak says more about you than it does about me. Let's talk when we can do it respectfully. 4. I'd prefer not to continue this conversation. That's your opinion, and I respect it, but I don't share it. These are not weapons, they are shields. They protect your peace. They remind you that strength doesn't live in anger, it lives in control, in clarity, in calm. Because true power has never been about silencing others, it's about mastering yourself. If you found wisdom here today, if these words helped you see that silence can be stronger than shouting, then don't let this lesson end here. Subscribe now to join this journey of Stoic wisdom where ancient philosophy meets the modern mind. And remember, the calmest voice in the room is always the one that carries the most truth.